Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to continue our NFL predictions with week 3. Last week, oh boy, it was a pretty rough week. I went 6 and 10, and this pretty much could account for a lot of upsets happening. And some of the things that I expect to happen in week 1 wound up happening in week 2. And I'm not going to waste any much time because for one of these games, I got a lot to say. But with the first game we have is the New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets. And this game will be played on Thursday night in MetLife Stadium. The Patriots' tough home loss to the Seattle Seahawks, and so far what we've seen, the Patriots have been punching above their weight, which is a good thing to see under first-year head coach Gerard Mayo. As for the New York Jets, yes, they beat the Tennessee Titans, and am I the only one that thinks this team should be playing a lot better? Well, fortunately for the Jets, they are 6-point favorites. This game is being played in MetLife Stadium. However, the last time Aaron Rodgers played in that building, hopefully the turf will hold up. I am going to roll with the New York Jets to win this game. But I'm not expecting too many points in this one. But yeah, I think this is going to be a very tight divisional game. Next we have is the New York Jets, New York Giants, the other New York team, taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Giants lost to their division rivals, New York, to the Washington Commanders. Last time I'm ever picking the Giants for that. And the Cleveland Browns getting a win in Jacksonville, beating on beating on the Jaguars after our numerous rain delays. Well, Deshaun Watson, he played a little better. But Amari Cooper, what is going on with that guy? He's dropping balls. He has pretty much, I think he has like 7 catches in the first 2 games. Hopefully, with the New York Giants, he could get going. And that Browns defense, prove it to everyone that they're still the Browns defense. I think the Browns shouldn't have a problem in this game. And then we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Packers getting a home win without Jordan Love, but instead with former Titan quarterback Malik Willis under center, and the Tennessee Titans losing at home to the New York Jets. And can someone find out what Will Levis is doing on the field? I feel like every single week he's having a bonehead turnover. Now, normally when I make predictions, I feel like with Green Bay, every time I pick the Packers to win, they lose, and every time I pick the Packers to lose, they win. So picking this game is going to be really, really tough. Don't know who I'm going to choose, but I'm going to go ahead and lean towards the Tennessee Titans to win. They're at home. They should get a dub. And following that, we have the Chicago Bears taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Bears lost last week to the Houston Texans. It was a low scoring game, but Caleb Williams, he was struggling pretty bad. And speaking of struggling quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson himself did not have a good game against the Green Bay Packers. And this game, I think, is going to be a real toss up. It could go in any direction. I'm going to roll with the Indianapolis Colts to win. But I won't be surprised the Bears defense will come in and steal another one. And before I continue, if I sound very nasally, it's because I've been stuffy all week, so I apologize for that. And with that being said, the Houston Texans will be traveling to Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Vikings. The Texans 2-0 start, beating the Bears last week thanks to a big game by Nico Collins. And the Minnesota Vikings. I feel like the Minnesota Vikings have been kryptonite to the 49ers, at least whenever San Francisco comes to Minnesota. Now, for this game, I do expect this one to be a really good one. And this one might surprise a lot of people. I know the Texans are favored, but I'm going with my upset pick of the week. I'm taking Minnesota at home against the Houston Texans. I think this is going to be a fun game. Justin Jefferson, I think he could get pretty busy on that Texas defense. And yeah, going with the Vikings, upset pick of the week. And then we have a early contender for game of the week for me. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New Orleans Saints. Eagles, what happened? Well, actually, I do know what happened. Saquon drop a crucial ball, let the Falcons drive down the field, score a touchdown pretty easily, and the Eagles lost last in the week on Monday night to the Falcons. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints, second week in a row, they scored 40 points in a game, but not only that, they destroyed the Dallas Cowboys in a game everyone expected the Cowboys to mollywop on them. Now, this game is going to be a big test for the Saints. See if they're for real or not. And the way the Eagles secondary, I have not been that impressed with, especially with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't know. He's back-to-back weeks he's been struggling. Yes, he had that fourth down stop. But it's not looking too... The Eagles, they're another team that should be playing a lot better. I am going to take the home team, New Orleans Saints. Prove me wrong, Philadelphia. And following that, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in their home opener. Chargers 2-0, winning on the road against lowly Carolina. I'll have more to say about them. And the Pittsburgh Steelers 2-0, somehow, against the Denver Broncos. Feel like every week, every year, the Steelers, you don't know how this team always ends up 2-0. You could chalk it up to good coaching by Mike Tomlin, which been an occurrence for almost 2 decades now. And you could chalk up their success to the defense being elite as ever. This game, well, speaking of defenses, the Chargers defense how about them? They've turned it around really quickly. Now, this game is going to be played in Pittsburgh, home opener. Steelers are favored by a point, which means it's going to be a toss-up. I am going to go with the road team this time, the Los Angeles Chargers, to win this game. Because while their defense has been playing good, I trust their offense and running game a little more than I do with the Steelers. I'm rolling with the Chargers. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Broncos, Bo Leave is turning to Bo Picks. He's thrown 4 interceptions to start the season. Struggled against the Steelers. 0-2 start. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay, 4 straight years of 2-0 starts. Might have been 3 straight years. I lost count. Okay, whatever. But give it up for Tampa Bay. 2-0 start again, going on the road, beating the Detroit Lions, avenging that divisional round defeat they had for them last year. And Baker Mayfield, right now, can't believe I'm going to say this, but he looks like an early MVP candidate. Trust me, it's only September. Things could change as the season goes on. But yeah, I don't see a scenario where the Broncos win. I think Tampa should dominate this game. And now we have the Carolina Panthers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders in the Raiders home opener. And before we talk about this game, I feel like I got a couple things to say about the situation going on in Carolina. Where is my frustrations with Bryce Young has not been with him, the person. It's been with his play on the field. He has looked horrifically bad ever since that Green Bay Packer game last year. Panthers have been outscored handily these last 4 games dating back to last year. 26-0. We had a 9-0, a 47-10, 26-3. And normally with rookie quarterbacks last year, this is rookie quarterbacks in general, when you're starting a rookie quarterback, they usually get better as the season goes on. Bryce Young, on the other hand, he got increasingly worse. His confidence, whatever he had at Alabama, is now gone. In the Charger game, as a Panther fan, this was very, very frustrating to watch. Took a long sack while having a chance in field goal range. Then he took another sack where he could have just stepped up the wrong way. If he would have found Adam Thielen, it would have gone for a big game. This guy, when I first saw Bryce Young, I didn't think the short memes were going to be that big of a deal. Because look at Kyler Murray, look at Drew Brees, look at Russell Wilson, look at Tua Tagovailoa. They're all 6.5 or shorter. They all got it done. Bryce Young, but what the difference is, each of those guys that I mentioned, they had a set attribute. that could put them over the edge. Bryce Young doesn't. He's a 5'9" on a bad day, or 5'10" pocket passer who could barely see the field, can't line up under center because how short he is. So, with all that being said, do I agree with the Panthers benching him? Yes and no. And where the no is coming from, I've said yes because I thought this bench, if the play kept going on, I thought he was going to get benched right around week 5, which would be ironically that Chicago Bear game. But I do agree with him being benched because this guy is shot. He has no confidence. He looks bad. He looks like a deer in headlights, far from the quarterback that won the Heisman back in 2021. So, yeah, that pretty much sums. Hopefully, Andy Dalton could come in, play decent football. But for the Panthers, just sell the team, Tepper. You once were the most hated man in Charlotte. You're now the most hated man in North Carolina, and probably the most hated man in South Carolina if you added to that. But with that being said, Carolina Panthers, they lost to the Chargers 26-3. What else is due? Bryce Young looked awful again. Now Andy Dalton starting at quarterback. Meanwhile, for the Raiders, despite being 9-point underdogs against the Ravens, they went on the road and steal it in the fourth quarter. I feel like I have more to say about the Ravens a little later on. This game will be played in Raiders. I already went on a pretty extended mini rant about the Panthers, so I'm going to keep this brief. I'm going to go with the Raiders to win with this game. Hopefully, Andy Dalton plays decent enough to give the Panthers some hope. But right now, I'm just going to take the Raiders. Following that, we have the Miami Dolphins taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Dolphins lost on Thursday night against the Buffalo Bills, where Tua suffered yet another concussion. He will be out for the next 4 to 5 weeks as he's been placed on injured reserve. Well, there goes their season. Meanwhile, Seattle 2-0 with the road overtime win over the New England Patriots. And yeah, without Tua, it's hard to see the Dolphins not winning this game. I am rolling with the Seattle Seahawks to win pretty dominantly. But I will say this. Without Tua, the Dolphins ain't nothing. With Tua, there's something. I understand why they paid him the big bucks. Hopefully, he will have a safe recovery. And then we have the Los Angeles Rams traveling on the road, taking on the 49ers. And yes, I didn't say that incorrectly, because let's be real, this is a glorified home game for the 49ers. It's going to be a sea full of red in Los Angeles. And speaking of the Rams, they're pretty much dead. Injury after injury after injury. Now Cooper Kupp is going on injured reserve. It looks like the Rams are winning the injury bowl. It is not even week 3. Well, it is week 3 now, but season's barely 3 weeks old and they already won the injury bowl. Meanwhile, the 49ers going on the road and once again losing to the Minnesota Vikings. And things are, well, they also have a big injury themselves. Deebo Samuel, calf injury. He's going to be out for an extended period of time, but I have not got word if he's going to be on injured reserve. So with this game, like I said, it's going to be a glorified home game for the 49ers. I think this is going to be a good bounce back win for them. And yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers to win at home against the Rams. And then we have the Detroit Lions taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Detroit Lions had a tough home loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jared Goff had 2 sacks with 2 interceptions, but Aiden Hutchinson, he had himself a day. 4 sacks in a losing effort. We've heard this story before against. Well, anyway, never mind that. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals, have yourself a day, Kyler Murray. He only threw 4 incompletions, and I remember in a press conference, Marvin Harrison said this, because this was his coming out game. His 4 incompletions were all in his direction. And he said, you know what? His 4 incompletions is on me. We got to do better than that. I love that answer. It's a mature answer from Marvin Harrison Jr. Stunting like his daddy. This game, I think, is going to be one of the funnest games of the week. I expect a lot of points to this one. And this will be a good indicator of where the Cardinals is as a franchise. However, I'm going to slightly lean toward the Lions to rebound in this game. But I think this is going to be a game where someone just going to have to lose. It happens. And it takes us right into Sunday Night Football with the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Chiefs, once again, bailed out by ref ball as questionable calls in the final drive, even though some of them actually were correct, gave the Chiefs another heart-stopping win over their hated rivals, Cincinnati Bengals. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Falcons, they got a win against the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. Good to see, but more importantly, Bijan Robinson had a great game, something that will never happen under Arthur Smith. But the Chiefs, this game, they're 3.5 points favorites, and they also have an injury with Isaiah Pacheco, as he's going to be out for like 8 weeks with a broken leg. And can someone tell Travis Kelce to wake up, because he's slowly becoming more known for being Taylor Swift's boyfriend than a tight end. He only has like 4 catches on the season. So with that being said, this game's being played in Atlanta. I think this game will be better than what expected, but I am going to roll with the Chiefs on the road because, let's be real, they're the better team. But the Falcons, I think the whole nation will be rooting for you. The whole nation will be rooting for you. And then we have a Monday Night Football game against the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Buffalo Bills. And the Jaguars, 0-2, Trevor Lawrence struggling again. And all I'm going to say about that team is tick, tick, Doug Peterson. Tick, tick. Meanwhile, the Bills are 2-0. And they had a really good game against the Miami Dolphins, 31-10. So this game's on Monday night in Buffalo. I don't see a scenario where Jacksonville wins. I do see a scenario of Jacksonville keeping it close. Hopefully, they play up to their potential in this game. And what do you know? We have a double header on Monday Night Football with the Washington Commanders taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Commanders getting a come-from-behind win over the New York Giants, and all they needed was field goals. Meanwhile, the Bengals suffering a tough tough road loss over the Kansas City Chiefs. In a game that I thought the Bengals clearly had won. But in this game, yeah, I think the Bengals, this is a must-win game for them. They are giving them 7.5 points at home. Battle of LSU quarterbacks. What could I say? I'm going to roll with the Bengals to win because they desperately need it. Meanwhile, the Commanders, they probably will make it a good effort game. That's all I'm going to say. And my game of the week. The Baltimore Ravens traveling to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. For the Ravens, 0-2 start. And what is going on with this team? Like, I feel like every single year they have a game where they should clearly win, but they just play lax in the fourth quarter. And this is, I think no other team has blown more fourth quarter leads than the Baltimore Ravens, and since 2020, surprise is not the Falcons, but there's your stat for the day. Meanwhile, for the Cowboys, yeah, they got pretty much pantsed against the New Orleans Saints. And the defense, they just looked awful that game. After a really good performance week 1, the defense just turned around and laid an egg at home. We heard this story before. But this game, I feel like both teams are kind of desperate. And because the Ravens are a little more desperate, and they also are like 6-1 against the Dallas Cowboys overall, I'm going to give the slight edge with the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. Cowboys, better be glad you're playing the New York Giants next week. And that concludes my predictions. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Again, apologies if I sound very nasally. I'm a little stuffed. But thanks for watching. Please gamble safely, and I'll see you next time.